What's up guys, Schmitty here, welcome back to another video, and today we got a response regarding the lack of the minimap in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So as we all know, in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, one of the, new features of the game is that it does not come with a minimap by default. The only way to get a minimap active in Modern Warfare is to acquire a personal radar kill streak, a UAV kill streak, or an advanced UAV kill streak. And those are the only ways to have your minimap active in Modern Warfare. If none of those three things are active, you have no minimap. Part of this, I guess, is the take on realism that they're going for. I'm assuming, or they're just trying some new gameplay style with it in Call of Duty. And with this change, they've made some massive improvements, of course, to the sound design in the game. They have little icons that hover over your teammate's head, so you kind of know the location of that. And with the newest build of the game, the build that we just saw in the reveal didn't have this because of a bug, but there is now and there will be in the future. So like once we play the beta and stuff, there will be outlines of teammates that we can constantly see through walls, which are okay changes, I guess. Those are definitely more helpful than not having either of those things alongside with not having a minimap, but there's still been a lot of backlash and a lot of outrage about the lack of the minimap in the game, and especially from those people that were able to go in and play the game early, those that were flown out to be able to play the game early, those who were able to play it at the reveal event live. A large majority of those people were very upset that there was no minimap in the game, and a lot of them felt as though that was their reason for, if anything, of their lack of enjoyment. A lot of people really enjoyed Modern Warfare, said how incredible of a game it was, but if there was one thing that they really did not enjoy about it, it was the lack of the minimap. And so ever since then, there's been this massive discussion with Modern Warfare about adding the minimap back in the game. I feel like that's easily the large majority of people that want to see it return and see this change be made to Modern Warfare. And I think it's pretty easy to expect that the devs are going to try and stand their ground with this, at least as much as they can, because it's their design choice. They see something with it in their design of the game that they like, and they would at least like people to attempt to be able to use it, which is very fair. It makes sense. But I think at the end of the day, we're all just hoping that they don't totally stand their ground in this and just ignore the community and don't ever add this back. And as I talked about in my video yesterday, I think I really want to see it back for a variety of reasons. And it looks as though that there is a chance that we could be seeing it return, potentially following the beta. We got a response from Joel Emsley, the art director over at Infinity Ward, who's been one of the more vocal ones, I would say, on Twitter. At least one of the ones that seems to stand out more whenever he says stuff. And ever since the reveal, they've been kind of like, well, this is kind of our gameplay decision. We want to see how people like it, blah, blah, blah. They've kind of been avoiding what they're going to be doing with the minimap here in the future. But Joel Emsley finally responded to this on Twitter today in regards to a question he got about whether they were even open to changing it at all, because they hadn't really given a clear response to whether they were even open to changing it. And Joel responded with this: "The most productive way to go about this is to let everyone play the game/beta and think for themselves. There's been enough feedback given on first impressions of viewing. It's important that feedback be based on experience and not secondhand." This to me speaks that yes, they are open to this. They are definitely listening to us as the community, and they know that there's been a massive talk about bringing this minimap back into the game and have it kind of work how it has in past Call of Duties. But I think they're being very smart with this as well, being the developers and not just totally acting on the immediate outrage of a ton of people that haven't played the game yet. This to me says, look, we're going to try it in the beta. We're going to try it how we have it now. We're going to let people experience the way that we have it now with the player outlines and the icons and the not having the minimap by default and playing it like how it's been originally designed. And, you know, at the end of the day, if people really don't like it, if they feel like this game is going to be that much better with having the minimap in there by default, then you know what? We're open to making that change. That's at least what that tweet speaks to me, and I think this is a perfect response from the developers. They want to try their way, but they want people to experience it for themselves by playing the game, not just by acting of outrage by viewing it, which I think is 100% perfect. It's nice that they're open to this. So far, from everything we've seen with Modern Warfare, it seems like they are very, very open and really trying to do things for the fans this time around, which is fantastic. And it looks as though they're going to be continuing this with this whole minimap debacle. Now, as I said yesterday, I really was not a fan of not seeing the minimap either after watching some gameplay, kind of putting myself in the shoes of the players and trying to envision what was going on there without having a minimap, and it seemed like it was going to be a bit of a struggle, and at the end of the day, I think it just would be better with a minimap, and I'd like to take the rest of this video to give my thoughts as to why. So I'll start with kind of the response that a lot of people that are more open to not having the minimap kind of give to those who complain that the minimap is not in the game. A lot of people like to say the minimap is a crutch, and a lot of people just stare at the thing, wait for the red dots to pop up on the map, and then they chase those red dots. For me personally, and I've heard a lot of people say the exact same thing, I don't want the minimap there for the red dots. In fact, for me, I want those red dots gone. And that was my initial hype about not having a minimap in the first place, was like, good, people aren't going to be able to go around and chase these red dots, and people that, shoot and get in more gunfights aren't going to be punished and flanked in the back by those people that are just kind of camping and waiting for those dots to pop up and then chasing those. I'm totally fine with the red dots being gone from the minimap. What I want the map for is kind of an assistance, especially when playing these maps and playing them for the very first time. We don't really know the maps, and the minimap can be an assistance to be able to get around the maps and kind of find your way, at least when first playing them. But of course, we're going to learn the maps here very quickly. Call of Duty maps typically don't take that long to be able to learn, especially after you play them a few times. But the other thing I want the minimap for is for teammate direction. I don't want the minimap there to be able to chase dots of the enemies when they shoot. I want to know where my team is at, so I know to go the other direction to be able to find the enemies. Spawns in Call of Duty usually are pretty simple when they work right, to where the enemies are not going to spawn by where your team's at. So if our team is located in a general location on the side of the map, I know that the enemies are most likely going to be spawning on the other side. And that's kind of a hard thing to keep track of when you don't have a map, because the way they're doing it right now with having the outlines, you're going to have to completely do a 360 loop and look around and see where your teammates are at, and then figure out where the enemies will be spawning in accordance to that, which is something that is made a whole lot easier just by having a mini-map up there. And personally for me, I don't see the personal radar as a solution to this, having this as a kill streak, for a couple reasons. One, I don't think we should have to get a 3 kill streak for something just that we want as a simple use, something that's been in Call of Duty for so long. I don't think that should have to be a 3 kill streak. And secondly, I don't think it should have to take up a kill streak slot if that's going to be in there. Because to get a 3 kill streak, just to have a map up there for 30 seconds, just to see the direction of your teammates on the mini map instead of on the actual ground and seeing outlines, I think is just ridiculous, because that's something you could put another kill streak towards. You could be running a higher streak, a different streak, you could run a care package instead, a cruise missile, something else. But you have to use a kill streak slot just to be able to get a mini-map for a short amount of time after 3 kills. I don't really like that either. And so if they really at the end of the day are going to stick to their guns and not include the mini-map by default in this game, I don't know that the personal radar should be a kill streak that you have to select and use a slot on. I think maybe it should kind of be its own separate streak that everybody's going to have. You don't have to use a slot on it, because otherwise everyone is always going to have to be running a personal radar in their kill streak slot. At least if they don't, they're going to be at a disadvantage to those who do, which is going to make it more of a crutch. And crutch things in Call of Duty really just aren't that fun overall. But I'm not going to harp too much on it. Like I said, this is pre-alpha stuff. We haven't even gotten to the beta yet, and we're just under 3 months now until the full game releases. There's still plenty of time to change things, and this is going to be something that if they decide to change, it's going to be the flip of a switch. I've seen some people say, well, the game's already near done. There's no way going to add this back. This COD's finished. I mean, this is something that is already in the game. Like the personal radar, all it does is turn on the minimap. So this is something that for them, they're literally going to have to flip a switch to be able to bring it back into the game and have its normal functionality. This isn't something like a massive game decision like bringing specialists into the game when the whole game is kind of centered around specialists. Taking those out of a game that's centered around it is pretty difficult. Or like a game with advanced movement, when the maps have been designed for advanced movement. If you just were to take it away based on fan feedback, you'd have a lot of maps that wouldn't fit because they were designed for that certain playstyle. This isn't really the same thing here with the minimap. This is just a personal preference thing, and I know that it's a personal preference for a lot of people, and I'm hoping that they're just open to it and they're going to listen to the feedback that they get. And my prediction is by the end of it, when launch comes, or maybe by the end of the second weekend of the beta or something, maybe they'll test it even, that the minimap will come back. I really don't see by the end of this that they are going to stick with how things are. I'm glad that they want to let people at least experience it and not just, spit all their anger and frustrations without even playing the game yet. I think that's good and that's smart on their part. But I think even after playing it, people are still going to want the minimap to come back, and hopefully they're open to that and they will listen to that if that is what the vast majority of the community still wants at the end of the day. Because other than that one little blimp that's been going around has been the massive talk of Modern Warfare thus far, things are looking fantastic for Modern Warfare this year. I don't think really, other than the mini-map discussion so far with Modern Warfare, that there's been really any issue from at least the majority of the community. Some people are going to have their little things that maybe they like or maybe they don't, but at least for the vast majority of the community, I think it's really just residing around the mini-map and what's going to be going down with that. But it sounds like Infinity Ward is very open to changing this. They just want people to at least play the game first without just attacking it based on a viewing experience, which is totally fine. I'm glad they're open to that. And so it sounds like once we get the beta here on September 12th, they're going to be starting us out at least with no minimap and letting people play it, letting people experience it. And then maybe sometime in the beta, they'll test it with the minimap, or they'll wait till after, get the community feedback, and then make a decision later. Either way, I think this is a smart choice. I'm glad to see that they're open to listening in the community. This is the perfect way to do it. Hats off to Infinity Ward on this one. Anyway, down below in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the minimap debacle here in Modern Warfare. Is it something you want to see come back based on what you've seen so far? Is it something you need to play with to really know if you want it back? And what are your thoughts on the response here from Joel Emsley from Infinity Ward? But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack the shit out of the like button down below. If you can chill, look up from country, subscribe button down below, as well as everything else in the videos. Go live. Hopefully you guys all have a good one. I will see you guys on another video. So long, everybody.